guess who's back? It's Kamish, back here with game previews. We're into week 10 now. Kamish has been feeling a lot really under the weather. I'm actually surprised I was able to do this video for you guys this week, considering I was in bed all day yesterday. But hey, I'm here for you guys, and the season's been a great one. So let's just get right to it. Danny and Billsy Bob, Tim Horton, 4 and 5, taking on Lucas and Green Lightning at 6 and 3. For Lucas, Wentz and Jeffrey on the bye, obviously that's going to be something that will hurt his lineup. Of course, the Elliott saga continues. When is this going to end? I'm honestly sick of hearing about it. I'm sure Lucas is too. Looking at Billsy Bob's team, obviously he's a full-on seller. I'm curious to see what his 5 keepers will be. Obviously, he'll probably use his picks next year to try to get better keepers. So really not much hope for him to win the South, even though he is only a game back of the South. Lucas comes into this one with 3 straight wins, and I see Lucas continuing to win. I have Green Lightning to win in that one. Next up, we got George and Pack Attack, 3 and 6 versus Brandon and Wolves, 4 and 5. Both teams last year for both. Obviously, George won't be back. Wolves, I have granted him a one year pass to Tier 2. He did reach out to me after the deadline, said he would pay the 40, but in my opinion, it was too late. So I am going to let him drop down to Tier 2 just for 1 season only. He's going to be the only exception, you guys. Basically, how it works is if you don't pay, you're done. It's that simple. Brandon and Wolves knew that coming in. But since he did reach out, I get give him the pass here. He still does have a chance to win the South. He's only a game out, and very winnable game here against George. Kenyon Drake has obviously become a huge asset. Marshawn Lynch sitting on the bye here for George. That doesn't help considering he comes in with 3 straight losses. And because of that, I do have Brandon and the Wolves to continue to win and get to 500. Next up, we got Krista and Storm, 4 and 5, taking on John and My Ball Zach Ertz, 4 and 5. Must win for both if they want a chance at the playoffs. Obviously, My Ball in a better situation, only being a game out of the East title. Krista, of course, coming in with 3 straight wins. It does look like My Ball is a full seller. Obviously, he is thinking about next year. Krista, for time being, not a seller. I guess she considers she might be in the playoffs. Personally, I think both teams are done. It should be interesting if Storm makes a mistake not selling, but I do have Storm to win this one to get to 5 and 5. Next up, we got Chris and True North sitting at 9 and 0 versus Monsters at 1 and 8. This one obviously looks like it's going to be a joke. Chris obviously going to get the 10 and 0. I do have True North to win this one. But you got to admit, Chris survived a pretty big scare there against George and Pack Attack. Gave him a run for his money. I think that's really the only chance left to see if Chris loses, unless, of course, Flex Week 13 is a tough one for him. I'll just have to wait and see there. For Monsters, there's rumors Andrew Luck might never play again, so that'll be interesting for the new team taking over, whether or not they move on from Luck. Of course, I did have True North to win that one. So next up, we got Milan in the 6, 5 and 4, taking on Sue's and Fighting Geese, 7 and 2. 2 teams going in opposite directions. Sue's with 4 straight wins, Milan 3 straight losses. I predicted this earlier, Milan, in one of the earlier videos. You were talking about how you were doing so well. I said you wait until you get late in the season when you play some real teams, and here you are, 3 straight losses. So question is, will Milan be a seller? And if he is it too late? I mean, lots of teams have sold already. There's not many draft picks available. So it should be interesting to see if he does sell. For Suze, has she done enough? I look at there are some weaknesses there, especially in the run game, to try to win a title. And obviously there's been some people buying here lately, so should be interesting to see how that one goes. But I do have Geese to win this one. Next up, it's the stinker of the week. It's myself, number 1 hustler, sitting at 2 and 7, taking on Joshua, Sasha Heineken, 1 and 8. I come in with 4 straight losses. Obviously, did a full sell there. Earlier in the year, I had 11 starters hurt, and I just said, screw it. I needed to move on. I bought a little bit here just for pride, and the simple fact that I could still win the division, still an outside shot. If I run the table and Luke only wins 1 more game, it could set up potentially Week 13 flex me versus Luke to see who wins the division. So I'm not giving up, but obviously this game, it doesn't get any stinkier. Two teams that really suck. Sasha also obviously playing for next year. I did have myself to win this one in the prediction time video. Next up, we got Steven, US1, 2-7, taking on Sean, Drink, AJ, OJ, 5-4. A rich history between these two. One of the biggest histories there is. For Sean, it's a surprise seller to me. Still a shot at the division. But obviously going on a full sell like you have, you're definitely looking like you're going to hand that title over to Robert, especially since you're turning to Deshaun Kaiser for this one to start. Should be interesting, though. I think you still have enough to challenge Steven in this one. Still in that divisional hunt. It is a rubber match between you two, too. Like I say, rich history. 3-3 is the season series. Or lifetime series. We'll see who wins and gets on top in this one. I also want to say Steven and Jack Doyle for first. Doyle's turned out to be the 4th best tight end in fantasy. Milan in the 6th traded a first for Kyle Rudolph, and I think Rudolph's not even in the top 10. So we gave Steven a hard time for that, but obviously maybe we should be giving Milan in the 6th a harder time in those tight end deals. I do have Drink, AJ, OJ to win this one and getting ahead in the rubber match there. Next up, we got Brian in the 12th man sitting at 6-3 versus Ryan in Longyard 4-5. 12th man clearly all in. You've seen all the trades. It appears that obviously making a run for the title. I will say this though, Julio Jones was obviously supposed to be one of his better players, still with 0 touchdowns on the season. Quite surprising there for one of the premier wide receivers. Longyard still needs to set his lineup, and don't worry, I'll be keeping an eye on teams like this. If you don't set your lineup, I'll do it for you. You have to do your best to try to win the games. I know this year's an exception because we know 3 owners are already gone, so you don't have to try to survive, which means some people might try to obviously sabotage their season to try to get a better draft pick, but I'll keep an eye on that for sure. Josh Gordon coming back, I think, is going to be a big thing for Longyard, but he's not back yet, and that's why I got the 12th man to win. Next up, one that could have easily been the game of the week. It's Glennon saving Matt's Ryan 6-3 versus Robert and Templars 5-4. Saving Ryan obviously could be the dark horse team here to try to make the playoffs. Definitely trying. For saving Ryan, really it just comes down to, is there going to be any trades for him to buy to try to get in? I know he made that trade earlier for all those IDPs. For Templars, obviously he made that trade with Odell for me. He got J.J. Watt, which was already hurt, and now Garcon goes on IR. So obviously that trade didn't help you out for the current. Might help you out for the future, obviously. But obviously picking up Vikings defense also to try to get you to that 3rd straight East title. And I do have Robert and Templars to win this one. Next up, we got the game of the week. It's Luke and Too Good for a Name sitting at 5-4. Taking on Ryan and Deuce Bombers 7-2. Two teams going in opposite directions. Luke with 3 straight losses. Ryan with 4 straight wins. But the bye week's going to be tough for Deuce Bombers. In this one, he's got Amari Cooper, Jay Ajayi, and Kareem Hunt on the bye. So it's definitely going to be a test of the depth. Throw in the fact that Mike Evans is suspended for this one. And obviously Luke adding some pieces to try to push himself over to the top. Of course, in the prediction time, I did have Deuce Bombers to go undefeated, so I got to stick with Deuce Bombers in the prediction. But you got to think Luke this might be the win that he gets, and I hope he loses the rest. So, but if Ryan and Deuce Bombers can get a win here for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Anyways, that's week 10, you guys. Next week will be the last week for bye weeks, so there won't be any more juggling the lineups. It'll be a full lineup for each team. And, of course, week 13 is the flex week, so that should be really exciting. Anyways, good luck this week, you guys, and have a wonderful week of fantasy.